So it's not what you do, it's how you do it. It's who you need to become and what skills do you need to develop to best put these other tools to work.
If I wanted to make fast capital, is it gonna be better if I'm doing, fix and rents?
Yeah, if quick turnaround is what you're looking for, I think probably wholesaling would be a great start, right? Because in that environment, you're not buying the property, having to put a lot of energy and effort and resources into it to then exit the property, right? And in a wholesaling scenario, you just middleman in real estate. So, if you went and got a property under contract for 250,000, right? And then you go and find somebody in Denver that's interested in that property and say that property is worth 400,000. Now, you could assign your contract to that potential buyer for say 275,000. So they're buying it for 275. You had it under contract for 250. That piece in between, that 25,000, is called your wholesale fee. And you can do that with no license, right? And so this is the difference between controlling real estate versus owning it. So, that could be a strategy advantageous to you because that could happen in a matter of days, weeks, within 30 days, more often than not. Because when you write your contract with the potential seller, you're gonna probably do that with a 3 to 4 week close. So that means that your buyer got to close with you within 3 to 4 weeks. Does that make sense? So that's a quick turnaround to start building up some chunks of cash.
Okay. All right. Well, I have one more question real quick too, though. I'm sorry. Um, you talk about buying property in other places. So I'm from Colorado. If I wanted to buy property somewhere else, how do I know where the spots are that I'm going to be able to make some money, some fast turnaround money?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's a tool that we use, and we're gonna talk about this later this week. But it's a tool that we use called bestplaces.net. Okay, it's a free tool, and when you go on there, you could zoom in to specific zip codes and start to see what the makeup of that market is. Okay, and in that market, you'll start to look for various things. And I can't teach y'all all like the bestplaces.net is a course in and of itself inside our program, right? But in broad strokes, I can give you enough context for you to go in there and start looking around. So you go to housing stats, you start looking at the particular zip codes that you want to invest in, okay? Now, you may not know what those zip codes are, but when you go on there and you click on housing stats and you look at the real estate page, you'll start to see various zip codes pop up and you'll start seeing them frequently, which is telling you it's activity in that marketplace. So that may be a good place to start, right? And so once you start looking at that, then you could go into the makeup of that market and figure out what's the percentage of homeowners versus the percentage of renters. So depending on what's the percentage of homeowners or renters, well, what does that tell us, right? That tell us, should we be looking at flips? If it's, if it's 70% of the market is renters, should we be looking at flips or should we be looking at cash flow properties, right? And even if you wholesaling, that's still telling you what your end buyer should be looking at. So that's a way to strategically, everything we do is data driven. Like we ain't guessing about nothing that we do, and y'all gonna learn that this week. Everything is strategic, it's methodical, and it's based on data. We make our decisions based on data. So that's a great place that everybody can go and start to dive into various markets that you may have interest in and start to really pull forth the data.
Thanks for taking my question. By the way, become highly recommended, and one of my friend is actually your mentee, and then he's been successful after he took your class, and then that's what led me to actually sign up with you. So
Got it.
yeah. So the question is that I'm thinking about like although I already get myself involved in the fix and flip, but I was leading towards or to supplement my my income with wholesaling. Now, is it best to do it in not nationwide, or I should stick with my local market? Which one you think is the best approach and would give me a well faster income, if I may.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think that when it comes to wholesaling, I think looking in your backyard is always the best place to start. And here's why. Because, like for instance, I live in Orlando, although I don't invest there anymore. If I was relegated to only investing in Orlando, right, via fix and flip, I would probably be making somewhere around 15% margins on my money, right? But by getting out of Orlando, it allows me to get into markets where I can make 30, 40, 50% plus returns on my money. Okay. However, the reason as to why that is in Orlando is because of how big of a draw that it is, and you got, a lot of international investors and transient people who have a tremendous impact on the price points in that market, right? It's very untraditional, unconventional, because people move there just trying to move to paradise, and they do a lot of things that are non-traditional in their approach to how they invest in real estate in Orlando. So that makes the market a lot more wonky than a traditional market, because people buying more out of intrinsic value than they are out of actual value. Okay. And so saying that, the unique piece though is that when you're wholesaling, you're not fighting all of those same conditions, right? Because you're just controlling the asset. You're not actually investing into it. So that gives you more latitude to get something under control, under control, under contract, and then go find one of those overzealous buyers to then come and buy the property. Does that make sense? So in that regard, you got more bandwidth, even if you're in a challenged market that don't make sense for you maybe to flip or cash flow. But if it's a hot market like that, it does make sense for you to start there from a wholesale perspective.
Now, I don't want to take up all your time. I got two more questions. It's just something I just need you to clarify quickly for me. Now, I don't understand by the way, I live in West Palm Beach, Florida, Palm Beach County.
Okay.
So that's about 2 hours away from Orlando, although I have business in
Okay.
Orlando. So I don't quite understand my market. Is there any tools or maybe seminar that you would recommend that I take so I could better understand my market when it comes to wholesaling?
Yeah. You in the right place. You're here. Yeah. So inside our program, we teach fix and flip, wholesale, and cash flow. The reason being is in my 17-year journey, I've needed all of them at different points in time. And so although some students come in and they focus predominantly on one vein or another, they have all of these accessible to them, so that every deal that they look at could be a potential opportunity, if not for them, for someone else.
Okay. Last question, real quick, is that as far as tools, I was introduced to Preview, PropStream, Deal Machine, and now bestplace.net. Now, is any of those which one is best for a beginner? If you
I mean, I would say bestplaces.net and PropStream for beginners. Our program details how to utilize all the, because look, a tool only as good as the carpenter who hands that they are in.
True.
Right. So you first have to become a good carpenter and then start utilizing the right tools. So, the program is really designed to teach you how to become a good carpenter, and then you could best utilize those tools. I see so many people that's like, you know what, I'm gonna go wholesale. They go spend all this money on marketing, VAs, pulling lists, all these various tools and widgets, and they like, it's been a year and a half and I still don't have my first deal. It's like, cause you never learned how to be an investor. You just started buying stuff that you thought was gonna make it work, and it don't. I mean, in 2018 alone, just from wholesaling from the MLS, I made almost $400,000 just from that part of my business off the MLS. So it's not what you do, it's how you do it. It's who you need to become and what skills do you need to develop to best put these other tools to work.